I am Levin Jai, and this is News Review. Coming up today, the outgoing High Commissioner of Nigeria to the Gambia, Mr. Obidapo Obe Olusegun, has bid farewell to President Adama Barrow after serving as his country's top diplomat in the country for the past 2 years. Also, the Gambia government, in partnership with the United Nations system in the Gambia, on Wednesday organized a news conference on the Decade of Action. I will also be speaking to Mr. Mari Jabate, ahead of Saturday's or the Moit Takawa Jami victims protest on Saturday. Also, my other guest is Prophet Nigel Gacy. He is one of the world's most powerful prophets, a man who has prophesied a lot of events that have all come to pass. These and more, but first, as usual, I'll quickly go through what the papers are saying today. I have the Point. I also have the Standard. We will begin with the Standard. Their lead story today saying, "I never rigged elections for Jammeh." That's the former IEC chairman, Mustafa Keroyal. "Jammeh hated me for no reason." That's according to Babali. "Gambia should be secular to protect minorities." That's according to Professor Abdullah Sen. "Mechanic arraigned for causing death by driving or rash driving there. Police arrest 5 alleged robbers." So let's quickly go through the favor. A former chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission has denied any suggestions that he had rigged elections for Jammeh. "I never helped Jammeh to win elections in this country," he told Star FM in an interview to be aired this morning. That's today. "Jammeh hated me for no reason." Imam Babali has told the TRRC that the former Gambian dictator Yahya Jammeh just hated him based on no reasons. Also, Gambia should be secular to protect minorities. Gambian-born American academic Professor Abdullah Sen has strongly advocated for the Gambia to be made a secular state because it is the surest guarantee of protecting the rights of minority religious sects or groups. I think the notion of secular is being misrepresented in this country. Secular only guarantees the separation of state and church or the mosque, Professor Sen told the TRRC in a marathon testimony that highlights the nature of former President Jammeh's 22 years rule. Also, the Standard is reporting that a mechanic has been arraigned for causing death by rash driving. One Ansuman Dabo, a mechanic and resident of Brikama, was recently arraigned before Magistrate Peter E. Chair of the Brikama Magistrates Court on a single count of rash and negligent driving causing death. According to the prosecution represented by Sub-Inspector Bobo Jaju, the incident happened on 7 January on the Brikama-Jalambang Highway when the accused person was testing a Mercedes C-Class Benz and lost control. He knocked down one Sisao Fati who was taken to Brikama Health Center and later pronounced dead. Police arrest 5 alleged armed robbers. The Gambia Police Force has announced the arrest of 5 people who allegedly robbed 5 different petrol stations. Chernambub, Yankuba Baji, Ibu Seka, Modu Lamin Ture, and Sajo Jalo were arrested in connection to multiple robberies at different petrol stations in the West Coast region. That's just about that for the Standard. The Point is also reporting on the Imam Babali TRRC testimony yesterday, saying Imam Lee accuses SIC for aiding Jammeh's 9 inmates execution. PMO, no systematic gender-based discrimination in recruitment. Janjambure Kankuram Festival to promote heritage tourism. Foreign Ministry unveils Tangara's Qatar engagements. So the Imam of Kanifing South, Imam Babali, yesterday told the TRRC that the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council backed former President Yahya Jammeh in executing 9 death row inmates by issuing a press release indicating that they inmates were killed by the Islamic law and not Jammeh. PMO, no systematic gender-based discrimination in recruitment. Lamin Jawara, the permanent secretary of the Personnel Management Office, has said there is no systematic gender-based discrimination in recruitment, promotion, and training, among others. Mr. Jawara made these remarks during a consultative meeting on the draft Women's Amendment of Discriminatory Bill 2019 before the Select Committee on Health, Women, Children, Disaster, Humanitarian Relief and Refugees at the National Assembly. So I think that is all for the papers there. So we'll quickly go through the stories that we have for you. The outgoing High Commissioner of Nigeria to the Gambia, Mr. Ibidapo Obe Olusegun, has bid farewell to President Adama Barrow after serving as his country's top diplomat in the country for the last 2 years. More in this report, courtesy of State House.
Yes, I did come here to bid the President farewell upon completion of my diplomatic assignment to the Gambia. And then I can tell you that there has been tremendous progress and development in the Gambia that I witnessed when I initially arrived in 2017, both in terms of economic development and the democratic governance, the enthronement of the rule of law, and best practices. Although if I had my ways, I want to continue to represent Nigeria and the Gambia, but of course, duty calls that I go back home. But I'm quite pleased to be leaving Gambia a better country, a more prosperous country, the country where freedom of expression, freedom of association, the rule of law is what is the guiding principles of the country. And I also want to say a little bit about the contribution of the Gambian people to their own destiny. Of course, they all came en masse to vote for change in 2016, and of course we are witnessing that change. And those of us who are even foreigners, Africans who are here, we also, of course, are also beneficiaries of that change. I mean, we could do the things we want to do, especially you media. I know that initially the media is not as free as you guys are now. You say whatever you want to say, you cover whatever you want to cover, and you know, nothing really happens in terms of how you express yourself. So it's quite is a very stark departure from 2016, 2017 of the Gambia that I'm leaving behind. I'm proud and happy to be part of that particular process that is bringing Gambia to where it is today. To be honest with you, I can only say that the relationship between the two will only deepen. I mean, there can't be any rupture. We've never had any irritants in our relations. It has always been brotherly. It's actually more than the normal diplomatic, you know, governmental, official relationships. Virtually all the previous presidents of both Nigeria and the Gambia have always seen one another as brothers, not as fellow heads of state, and of course the people too. And of course, being in West Africa, of course, ECOWAS has brought all the countries together as one. And so I really don't see any change. The only change would be that it will be more collaborative, more mutually beneficial to the two countries. I mean, although we don't like to say that relationships between one or two people is taken for granted, but I can tell you as a matter of fact that the relationship between Nigeria and the Gambia is taken for granted. It can only be deepened.
For the first time in the Gambia, your favorite GSM operator, Africell, is the first and only GSM operator to launch a brand new technology called the eSIM. The eSIM simply means you can use your phone without a SIM card. Do you have an iPhone 11, any of the iPhone X series, a Google Pixel 3, or any new phone that supports the e-technology? Visit any Africell customer care center. Activate your eSIM today. With your virtual Africell SIM, you can use more than one number without having a physical SIM card in your phone. Enjoy this brand new technology for the first time in the Gambia, brought to you by Africell. eSIM, your phone without a SIM card. For more information, please call 111. Where Africell goes, nobody.
The government, in partnership with the United Nations system in the Gambia, on Wednesday organized a news conference on the Decade of Action regarding the Sustainable Development Goals there. The Decade of Action actually started this year, 2020. It will end on 2030, in which states are expected to finally achieve the Sustainable Development Goals there. Jaka Sise Jete was at the presser, which was held at the Higher Education Ministry in Bijilo.
The Decade of Action 2020-2030 calls for accelerating sustainable solutions to all the world's biggest challenges, ranging from poverty and gender to climate change, inequality, and closing the finance gap.
Why do we have the Decade of Action? The answer is not very complicated. As you are aware, the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by all countries, including the Gambia in 2015, are our shared vision to end poverty, rescue the planet, and build a peaceful world. Over the years, we have seen remarkable progress. Extreme poverty and child mortality rates are falling, and access to energy, education, and to decent work is rising. But hunger in one is rising. Greenhouse gas emissions continue to climb, and the world's most vulnerable continue to be most affected by conflict, inequality, injustice, and climate change. We are far from the world we want. But with only 10 years left to achieve the global goals by the 2030 deadline, there is a risk important SDGs will not be achieved. Making is urgent for everybody to step up action to accelerate the implementation of SDGs and their targets.
In helping to accelerate the implementation of the SDGs, the government of the Gambia have come up with initiatives that will improve the quality of healthcare and education services, especially in the rural parts of the country.
After the change of government in December 2016, the new government formulated a National Development Plan 2018 to 2021. The National Development Plan, through its 8 strategic priorities and 7 critical enablers, mainstream the SDGs. The National Development Plan strongly speaks to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and its overarching goals recognize the importance of inclusive development in line with the principles of leaving no one behind. Our strategies and interventions are also aimed at reducing the gaps that exist between the urban and rural areas. In this regard, investment in rural roads to help improve access to markets and socioeconomic facilities for some of the most vulnerable populations in our country.
Reporting for the Fatu Network News Review, I am Jakasis JT.
Dominique America wala Europe wala yone mobile muy jël ay weer Smartphone House ñëw pour rek noppal leen looy def rek mooy nga def payment ñu deliver phone bi tey.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Man de sama jëkkër moo ma boole ak yéen. Mohamed Ndiaye.
Mohamed Ndiaye.
waaw Sweden.
maa ngi wax amoon tey si suba.
waaw daf ma call suma téléphone bi yaaxu mu ne ma demal Smartphone House. ma ne ko waaye loolu gaaw na ni mu ne ma demal rek.
moom utal na la fi benn. mooy iPhone 8 Plus.
masha Allah.
ak Smartphone House emuñ ci jaay mobile rek waaye dañuy jaay computer ay yére ak daala yi nga xam ne rek original lañ ba tax nag ku bugg a xam fi nga xam ne mooy Smartphone House da ngaa dem Kairaba Avenue opposite fi nga xam ne mooy Barcelona shop. Dominique America.
Thank you. So now on Saturday, victims of former President Yahya Jammeh will take to the streets, or they will organize hold a march to demand that the former president faces justice. And now I am joined by Madi Jabate. He's one of the people who will participate in this protest or march, as some would call it. Mr. Jabate, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So first, what is this protest or march all about?
Okay, so it's not a protest. It is a march, in the sense that we are not a bunch of angry people, angry against anyone, but rather to demonstrate our responsibility and leadership in the building of the new Gambia, and in which it is very fundamental that there is justice, accountability for what happened in the past 22 years, in order to enable the country to heal, to salvage itself, and to, enjoy that peace and unity that we yearn for. So this is what the march is about. So it is one, therefore, to ask all citizens to realize that we can't build a new society until we address the past. That in our society there are people who are in pain, in misery, who've been suffering simply because of the atrocities, the violations that were meted out to them. And it's 3 years now. Much as we recognize that the government has created the TRRC, and we appreciate the remarks by the Justice Minister just last week, and other efforts, it is still necessary that we come out to raise this issue as a very fundamental issue step for the country to take. And secondly, to put pressure, therefore, on the government that with all the efforts they are doing, do much more to make sure that there is accountability. And none other than Yahya Jammeh bears that obligation to be held accountable. All right. But thirdly, also, it is about the future. That we have a state. The role of the state is to protect our rights, to fulfill our needs. We had a situation where the state deliberately, consciously went to damage our rights and plunder our resources and so on. And so, if we don't have accountability for that, if we don't make it known that this is unacceptable, therefore, what message are we sending to the future? Because we now have another president. There will be another president. There will be another president. So we need to take this stance so that anytime you or me become president, or anyone who becomes president in this country, realize that you cannot violate the rights, the dignity of Gambians without consequences. So it is also, therefore, a means for protecting the future. You know, so these are all the issues that are in this march. That is why we call it March for Justice, you know, to bring Yahya Jammeh to justice, because he bears primary responsibility for all that had happened in the past 22 years. If you follow the Jammeh Commission, if you follow the TRRC, yes, all of the individuals that said, I went to the bank, I spent this money, and all of that, I kidnapped or arrested this one, I detained this, I tortured this one, I killed this one. They are not ordinary citizens, you know, on the streets in our homes, just like that. These are public officials. They are either security officers or civil servants. So that is the state. They are part of the state. They are all state agents. And at the top of that state is the president. And so the Constitution, Section 17, makes it very clear that the fundamental rights and freedoms of Gambians shall be protected first and foremost by this executive, which is headed by the president. So the president bears primary obligation to make sure that he combats abuse of office, abuse of power, misuse of public resources, and the destruction of the rights of Gambians. Okay. And we have seen when all those resources were plundered, when all those atrocities were committed, who was held accountable for the killing of Gambian children in 2000? Who has been held accountable for the murder of Deda Hydra, Osoro Sandeng, or the disappearance of Chief Mane, or the killing of, Haruna Jammeh, or Masi Jammeh, all right? And so on and so forth. Who? So meaning the state itself failed to protect citizens. And the person at the top of that state is Yahya Jammeh, was Yahya Jammeh himself. So he failed to protect citizens, especially when, which makes it even more serious, those individuals called the junglers testified that they were answerable to him, and they took orders from him, and they did his bidding.
So now, Mr. Jawada, let's put this march then into context, because this march is coming days after the APRC, opposition APRC, members took to the streets calling for the return to the country of the former president. And these are people in their protest, and these are people who hold the view, who cling to the notion that the former president didn't do anything wrong. These are just allegations that are baseless. But the protest, what it did certainly is that it angered the other side, people who are victims of his rule, victims of his regime, and it angered them. And a few days later, this announcement came that you are also going to stage a march. So is this in response, the march, is it in response to the APRC protest, or what is it?
Yeah, so it is certainly partly in response to that. Because what that march indicates is that it has scarred the conscience of all decent human beings. For one to claim Yahya Jammeh did not commit atrocities in this country because he did not pull the trigger, he did not beat anybody physically, nothing can be more dishonest and more indecent for a human being to claim if you understood what is the state, what is government, and all of those. If you go to Germany, you would not see anyone who can claim that Hitler shot him in his head or gassed him. If you go to, Uganda, I'm sure you won't find anyone that you can claim, physically slap this person or so. Yes. Because you have a state. As the head of state, you bear legal responsibilities, political and legal responsibilities to protect rights. So even if you did not shoot, you bear responsibility to make sure that's redress. So that if somebody like Deda Hadra is shot dead, or Solosana is tortured to death, or Koro Sise is burnt to death, you as the president, you bear that legal and political responsibility. Because that's why you swear on the Constitution that I'll defend this Constitution. In that Constitution, what is there is our guaranteed rights. So by declaring that you defend this Constitution, it means you declare that you will protect the rights of each and every citizen. And when the right is damaged, it is your responsibility to repair the damage. Now, but there was no accountability for Koro Sise, for Deda Hadra, for the children in 2000, only to see a law to protect the perpetrators. So that on its own clearly makes Yahya Jammeh culpable as the one who bears the primary obligation. Now, apart from that, these atrocities were all committed by state agents and state institutions that are directly answerable to him. And where those agents, in fact, have come to say that he gave the order. And we know the decision-making process within the state, the hierarchy, the command. Yes. So clearly, anyone who understands the state, the operations of the state, it is not far-fetched to realize that, indeed, Yahya Jammeh has killed these people. So for anyone now to come to deny that is utterly indecent, dishonest, and you effectively are seeking the destruction of that society. Because where such atrocities have happened in this country, you come now to say Yahya Jammeh did not do it, then effectively you are saying nobody did it. So what does that mean for those who have suffered that atrocity, that torture, that harm? Should they take the law into their own hands, therefore, to address what has happened to them? Is that not now destruction of this society? This is what what APRC is effectively saying. And it is so inhuman, I would say so un-Gambian, that citizens would gather themselves around to say this. So yes, this march is triggered by that, because they have genuinely harmed each and every decent Gambian, in fact, each and every decent human being on earth. It's like anybody saying yes, Hitler did not kill those Jews. So
would you, their action there then, would you pin it on blind loyalty? That they're just so in love with this man, they don't want to see the reality? I wouldn't talk about their loyalty. What I know is a matter of low self-esteem. You see, human beings, and especially as Gambians, we are an embodiment of values. We should be seen to exhibit values. So that whether it's in our culture or in our religion, so even in our laws, truth and justice should be values that should drive us. Yes. So that even if it is your father or your mother that has committed injustice, a decent human being should be able to put it to that parent that what you did is unjust, in a way that you would not be disrespectful even to your parent, much more to an elected public official, because Yahya Jammeh is not a dependent of anyone. He is just, as president, you are just an elected public officer. Therefore, the relationship he has with all members of APRC, like with all members, all citizens of the Gambia, is an accountability relationship. We have no relationship with him as president other than an accountability relationship. So for citizens to ignore that accountability relationship, but to respond to this man as if he is God, means that citizen lacks self-esteem, lacks a sense of sovereignty, lacks a sense of self-worth, which is self-esteem. And if you lack that,
it means you will go so low before your fellow human being. So this is what they're exhibiting, and they need help,
but then,
if anything.
Yeah, and then this is pretty serious, because you have thousands or tens of thousands of Gambians who still believe in the innocence of
exactly.
the former president. So that makes it a very complex issue, right?
Yeah. So it's that lack of self-esteem, which means it's a lack of self-knowledge. All right. What do you know to be who you are? As a citizen, what do you understand that to be? As a human being, what do you understand yourself to be? What is a human being? All right. And so to come and bring yourself to that level, it means, effectively, you don't value yourself. You don't know yourself in terms of being a human being, being a citizen. And, it's really complex. And therefore, when you don't know it, you substitute or you trade your being with the interest of somebody else. And when I look at the narratives that they spread around, you can see a huge misunderstanding that they appear to be fighting for a man when actually you are fighting your own country.
Now, so what is your assessment on when it comes to the government in terms of the political will? Because what we have seen is that just last week we were seeing, or this week, Batambedu speaking at the weekend, saying that the former president faces arrest if he dares return to the country. So, but then, do you think, because on the side of the victims, they appear to be a little impatient for justice. So, what do you make of the political will? Do you think this government, the Barrow administration, is doing enough in terms of bringing Jammeh to justice? Yeah,
so that is what is bringing up this march again. The APRC one is one. Number two, number two,
of good political will.
Yes, especially where you have the president himself go to rallies and speak about Jammeh can return to the Gambia, but not as a president,
but as a private citizen.
As a private citizen, I think that is a huge, misconception and something unbecoming of President Barrow to say, indicative of really that lack of political will, given also the way and manner he has been getting himself closer to APRC and even bringing in key Jammeh enablers right inside his cabinet and to other parts of his government, which is also the valve that has given air to the APRC to breathe, to the point that Jammeh himself would have the audacity to say, Gambians miss me, I'm better for Gambia than Barrow, and all of those things. So what Barr said last week should be something that should have been said since 2017, all right? But what Barrow has been saying, what his spokesperson Sankare said, that his security cannot be guaranteed. Yes, his security should be guaranteed by the state, because the state has a responsibility to guarantee the security of each and every Gambian, all right? But that, when Barr said, therefore, two things in his statement, no amount of political talk and no amount of political brinksmanship.
Brinksmanship, yes.
Yeah? That's very significant, because for me, I have distributed that to two people. Idle talk is about Fabakary Tombong Jatta and his APRC folks, who are in that idle talk. Jammeh did not kill anyone, did not torture anyone. Jammeh is innocent. Where is the fact? TRS is paying people, blah, blah, blah. That is serious, irresponsible, idle, unpatriotic, dishonest talk. I think Barr has adequately addressed that, so that they don't have any ambiguity that those kinds of talks is not going to influence these things.
Yes.
The second thing is political brinkmanship. When you talk about political brinkmanship, it is when politicians engage in maneuvers, in schemes, in that kind of games, in order to seek votes, in order to seek support, to seek legitimacy in places where they don't even need it. And that is what we see Barrow do.
Are you saying that that veiled dig could be attributed to Barrow?
For me, I don't know what is in Barr's mind, but in my analysis of that speech, that political brinkmanship, what you mentioned,
can be attributed
is for
to
Barrow. The annual talk is for Fabakary Tombong Jatta and his APRC people. That, for me, is very clear.
Great, great, Madi. So, Madi, the protest. But then, before that, let me ask you this, because this is a little complex here. What the APRC deputy interim leader said just a few weeks ago, speaking to BBC, was that nobody dared arrest the president, former president, when he returns to this country. He said he threatened bloodshed should this government arrest him when he returns. And you have this government that is saying that, threatening that they are going to arrest him. So how is that going to...
Yeah, that is the height of idle talk. Because if that is the case, then let Fabakary Tombong buy an air ticket, a one-way ticket, for Yahya Jammeh to come to...
But it's not that simple.
What is not simple?
It's not that simple for him to just go and buy a ticket and go and bring...
It is simple. You got any airline agency down here, you buy a ticket. I'm sure Yahya Jammeh has a name, has a passport.
Yes.
And so he doesn't need a visa to come back to the Gambia. So that is idle talk. Number two, the state has the power to arrest anybody the suspects to have committed a crime, to have violated the law. And so to say the government of the Gambia cannot arrest any citizen, especially a citizen who has committed crime, who has violated the law. I mean, the Jammeh Commission report is clear.
This citizen is a different citizen.
Yes.
Altogether.
There is no law that says a former president cannot be arrested. We have seen that around the world. So, you know, this is idle talk. Yes. The Gambia government has more than enough evidence, reason to arrest Jammeh. Just as they have arrested the junglers. Just as they have arrested, you know, the Jankura Toure is now in mile 2. So, I don't see why...
But Madi, I have also known you to be someone who is, as a commentator, someone who has been very consistent when it comes to issues. Yeah. This government agreed to a deal that, you know, convinced the president. The deal was, that was struck between the Gambia government, you know, at the instance of the peace brokers. What they said was the former president could return to the country at any time of his choosing. Yeah. Why are you not talking about that? Why are you not defending that?
No. I have defended that Yahya Jammeh has a right to return to this country. So let Fabakary Tombong buy him a ticket. Let Yahya Jammeh buy himself a ticket. This is Gambia. This is his country. He has a right to be here. He is wasting time there. He should come even tonight. So that is non-negotiable. That is sacrosanct. He has a right to return here. But he also will be subjected to accountability for the things that he did. Because Yahya Jammeh, as you say, is not an ordinary citizen. I have not held public office. You are not holding public office.
Exactly.
Yeah, Yahya Jammeh held public office for a period.
Yes.
And in his tenure, directly under him, malpractices happened.
Yes.
And anybody who holds public office, and under your watch, under your terms of reference, malpractices happen, you should be held accountable. So Jammeh, you know, I don't understand. Well, we are protesting for Jammeh to justice, bring Jammeh to justice. I mean, marching on Saturday. I think APRC should come and, you know, join also march along so that Jammeh comes back. We don't want Jammeh to come back. So we want Jammeh to come back and face justice. Very simple. And it is very important that he comes back to face justice, because until we put him to justice, all right, we address all of the injustices of the past, this country, the soul of this country will not heal. So it is important we address this as soon as possible so that the country can move on. Now, the idea that there will be bloodshed, no, there will be no bloodshed. Of course, another idle talk. Another idle talk.
The one group, the one part of the country that really bought into this, you are one of the masterminds of this march. The diaspora, as soon as they heard about this, they were interested. They contributed money to this cause. What do you make of that?
Great. I mean, you see this dichotomy of, you know, distinction, diaspora and, I mean, sometimes it, gets me disgusted. These are Gambians. There's an issue here at home. Gambians are in the Gambia. Gambians are in across our borders. Yes. They have a duty to play their citizenship role. Yes. So what has happened is they are just fulfilling their citizenship role. Right now, Yahya Jammeh is in the diaspora. Is he not calling APRC, instigating them to protest? something that he never allowed to happen when he was in this country as head of state, violating the right to freedom of assembly guaranteed in our constitution.
So you call that double standard?
Yeah, I mean, but you know, Jammeh is fake as far as we are concerned. I mean, there's nothing true about him other than his dishonesty and injustice. When he projected himself as an imam, as a believer in God, it's all fake. When he projected himself as an honest man, I mean, he was the most corrupt person. When he projected himself as a peaceful man, he was the most violent person. When he projected himself as a decent man, he was the most, you know, obnoxious, indecent Gambian ever. So, I mean...
strong words
yeah,
there.
Definitely.
So, finally, before I leave you, how is this march going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to assemble at Westfield, and, you know, the police in their wisdom said we should march as far as, you know, Alliance Franco, you know, which is basically Westfield, you know, but we give it to them. So we are going to assemble at Westfield on Saturday, 8 o'clock. We'll print T-shirts and banners and posters. As we said, this was the protest. We are showing responsibility for the Gambia, for ourselves. So what we expect, let 1 million Gambians come. That what is happening, it is beyond Jammeh. It is beyond APRC. This is about the Gambia today and tomorrow. I give this example. 2000, 14 students were shot to death. Who would have thought in 2000 that 18 years later, 3 Gambians would be shot dead in Faraba? It happened. Today, who would have thought, you know, in 20 years' time, in 5 years' time, you know, 2 Gambians would be shot dead in Boraba or in Kerawan or in Farafenye? But all of that depends on what kind of Gambia we create. If we create a Gambia of justice, all right, if we create a Gambia based on respect for rule of law, for protection of human rights, on good governance and democracy, we can prevent those kinds of events. So look at this issue not just in terms of what happened in the past, but look at it in terms of what is happening today and going forward, what kind of Gambia do you want? That for once, let us stand up, that we insist on accountability, that we tell the sitting president, just as Jammeh is paying consequences for what is happened, rest assured you will be held to account. The next president coming, the next president coming, the next president coming, all to realize that ultimately you will be held accountable if you don't abide by the rule of law, protect our rights, and defend the national interests. This is the significance of this march, and I wish all Gambians would recognize it as such. So if you don't have T-shirt, you know, come in your white haftan, in your white grambu, in your white skirt, in your white, you know, suit and tie. Just come.
And be part of the event.
And be part of it. This march doesn't belong to me, doesn't belong to Victim Center, doesn't belong to, you know, anybody anywhere. It is Gambians' march calling for a new Gambia, yeah, of accountability, of justice, and that is it.
Mr. Jawade, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
As always, appreciate it. Thank you. So coming up next, my big interview with one of the world's most powerful men of God, Prophet Nigel Gazier. We'll be right back. Hello, my name is Lamin Jai. So today I will be speaking to Prophet Nigel Gazier. He's a man of God from Ghana. Prophet Nigel's work is known all over Africa and beyond. He is currently in town and he's here in our studios. And I will be speaking to him today, the man of the God, top prophet there.
Yes, Alamin.
Prophet Nigel, thank you very much for coming to our studios today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to you.
Thank you. Yeah. First of all, how is your stay in the Gambia?
Thank you. My stay is cool. I've been lodging. I think I came last 2 nights, and so far, so good. I love Gambia. Gambia is my second home.
Second home?
Yeah.
Great. So, first, what is working as a man of God like? What does it take?
What does it take is just accepting Jesus as a Lord and personal Savior and being consistent with your mandate. Every man of God has his mandates. My mandate is that I should talk about Jesus and also take the prophetic into the world, and that is why I travel far and near. I've traveled to nations of the world, and this is not my first time in Gambia. I've been coming to Gambia to revive and bring the message of hope. So to ask me the question, how is the work of God like? I go around talking about Jesus, and I'm a prophet. I tell people, I tell nations what the Lord says, and it's come to pass. The last time I was here, the former president Yahya Jammeh gave me audience in which I told him that his time was up. He should prepare because the world rejects him. Gambia rejects him, and it came to pass. He did not listen, but it came to pass. And here again, I'm here. I have a word for the presidency. I have a word from the Lord for the nation and the people of Gambia. And during the course of this interaction,
if you
allow me,
we will get to that. But then now, working as a man, this is a realm that only the lucky few would venture into.
Yes, sir.
So your prophethood, how did it come about?
Okay, it came about relatively, I'm a young man, but God has shown me mercy. The Lord called me at the age of 13, 14, whilst I was in my mother's room. I was fasting, and the Lord said He has called me. And since the age of, I think that I've been in ministry for about 21 or 22 years. And by the grace of God in Ghana, I built one of the magnificent auditorium for God, which takes about 2,500 is a capacity. It's worth over a little over $1 million. And I have my own television station, which is purely Christian station. That is Hail TV. Is on the multi-TV Digi box. So if you're watching me, you can always watch me on Hail TV. And I've influenced nations, I've influenced institutions, I've influenced the destiny of individuals by the message of hope.
But the message of hope. So now tell me,
yes,
the times are getting ever complex. Take us through the role that religious leaders such as yourselves, prophets such as yourselves play in these very complex times.
Thank you. Indeed, the Bible says that when it's getting to the end of the times and the systems will be complex, as you put it. And the role we do is that in all facets of life, you can't do it without religion. Whether the other religion, but I speak for myself, I speak as a Christian religion. Whether in politics, you need religion. Whether in education, whether in comments, you need religion. And religion, if you read the Quran, if you read the Bible, if you read the other religious book by which I defend the Bible will tell you that you cannot be a great leader without God. Before Gambia will prosper, Gambia must surrender to God and the things of God. And before anybody watching us online or directly will do well, you cannot do without the God factor. So everything God first, everything God first, everything God first. And God will bless you, but God will not bless the words of your mouth. He will bless the words of your hands. So after hearing the message of hope, after hearing the word of God, you have to use the word of God to do what? To be productive, I came to Gambia, I've been coming to Gambia, but I will tell you, and I'm a very blunt man of God, that it's time that Gambians wake up, because Gambia is far behind time. If you compare Gambia to other nations of the world where I've gone to, Gambia, after by the grace of God, the Lord taking the former president off, the tension has come down, the things are stabilized, but still Gambia is not doing well. Gambia need a radical push. Gambia, because you are, I mean, it's not to disrespect the Gambian or the average distance, but Gambia with respect to development, Gambia is far behind. Gambia is far behind. I look at your young girls on the street, you are far behind. I look at your working class, you are even your buildings, Gambia is behind. And I think that this is the time that I will call on all the Gambians in the diaspora, all the investors, come back home and come and help your nation. Because I believe in Africa. I believe in Pan-Africanism. I believe that Africa cannot do well. Nobody can do it for us except ourselves. So the Ghanaian will come and help, but I cannot help better than the Gambian. So if you have money, come and invest in education. If you have money, come and invest. And look at these white people all over Gambia. We can use them. we can do much more. So if the cast you are using here, Gambia, maybe if you have traveled nations, you understand what I'm saying. Gambia can do it. Gambia can do it. You have the Atlantic Ocean here, you have natural resources, but Gambia is behind. Gambia is behind. And thank God the former president is gone, the nation has stabilized. When I came the last time, there was a lot of tension, but now there's no much tension. So it's okay. It's a good platform. So Gambia should do it. Gambia should allow Gambians to do it. Gambians should give their natural resource. Gambia should believe in Gambia, and Gambia should do it.
Prophet, so let's let's stick to your prophethood there. I want us to talk a little bit more about it. So your prophethood, how does it go? Because I mean, from what I read I'm a Muslim, but what I read from history is that prophethood, prophets, it could come by way of prophecies.
That's right.
They could come by way of revelations. Who do you really deal with? Is it the angels, or you just
thank you? You are a good interview. You're a good product, and I will encourage the station and your boss to hold you dearly. Because among the people traveling, the people who have interviewed, I think they are extremely good. So we prophesy by we prophesy by the Spirit of God. We prophesy through the voice and the workings of angels. We prophesy through the Word of God. We prophesy through something called trance. We prophesy through a dream. But me, I'm a major prophet. We have a minor prophet and a major prophet. For me, God uses me. God speaks to me. That my 2 ears, I hear much more predominantly with my right ear. Every day, I hear God talk to me. Like even today, before I leave my hotel to this place, God speaks to me in my right ear. He uses my 5 senses: my nose, my ear, my mouth, so all your senses. God can, and He uses my dream, He uses my vision, and so that is it. But some they only see through dreams, and some too, whilst they are talking to, like you are watching me, like me, I can ask you are talking to me. God can open my eyes about you. I mean, I'll talk about you, locate your problem, and I'll give you a solution. And so that is it.
You are a very popular prophet in Ghana, not just in Ghana, but across Africa and beyond.
I'm humbled.
But some would brand you as a prophet of doom, because most of the events that you prophesize about are negative events, not necessarily positive. Is this the case? Is it? Does God only show you negative events? No, people dying, for example?
No. See, I'm not the custodian. Thank you again for and thank you, viewers. God bless you. I'm not the custodian of prophecy. What people of God, the people must understand. Look at the way your cameraman is looking at me. Must understand that we prophesy by inspiration. Lami, before you came on set, you were instructed by your boss, and he has given a specific assignment. I'm under somebody, and the person says, I see this, I see that, and we say just that. And I can tell you that if you know me, you follow my ministry, you have direct access to me, you watch me on my TV station, TV, you know that dead prophecy is the least, about 1% of the. Through me, a lot of people have given birth. Through me, HIV/AIDS goes. Through me, cancer goes. Through me, leukemia, kidney goes. Through me, a lot of people are liberated. I can tell the number of people who are in abroad, America, Canada, because of the word of prophecy and the gift of greatness upon me. But what it is that people and the media focuses on negativity, because negativity sells than positivity. You understand? So the work I do by the Spirit of God, the positive ones are more than the negative ones. I win souls, like as we're talking, and my TV is on, I'm winning souls all over Africa. That one is more than, and you see, when you go to a prophetic church, or when you meet a prophet and the prophet tells you that you're about to die, it's the best prophecy that anybody can give you. It's better than the prophet telling you go to America, you give birth and blah blah blah. Because if you give birth, you go to America and you die, you've lost it all. But we know what God has for us, but we don't know what the devil is planting. That is why the Bible says in Amos 3:7 that the Lord God will not reveal but what he's about to do to his prophet. So the dark things the Lord reveals to his prophet, and we destroy it. I hope you get what I'm saying. Yes. So to answer your question, the positive ones are more than the negative ones. And I'm never a doomed prophet. I'm a young, educated, exposed prophet of God. I speak the mysteries and the good things of God. And I'm much more a positive man of God. So I'm not interested in somebody tagging me or labeling me as a doomsayer. But they write those things because they want traffic to their blogs. They want make money because I'm a name. I'm a brand. Anybody that you say Prophet Nigel or Nigel Gaze, you get traffic, you get a lot of money. So, you know, people are prone and wired towards negativity than positivity. You understand? So that's what it is, Lamin.
So do you also, because there's also this sense in some quarters that Prophet Nigel is a little sometimes extremist. You know, for example, when you are in the church, you know, delivering your sermon, you can just point to someone and say, this is what is happening to you in your home, for example, which can be an embarrassing moment for some people when you have all these people, and then, for example, thousands of people, worshippers, and you just point to someone and say, okay, your best friend is sleeping with your husband, for example.
Let me, you followed me. Yeah, you dig me. That is, you see, when it comes to the prophetic, does that. What the prophetic does is that it comes to rebuke, edify, and correct. The three purposes of prophetic is to rebuke, edify, and correct. So if the word I'm giving to you does not correct you, it's not God. If the word I'm giving to you does not rebuke you, it's not God. If it does not edify you, inspire you, it is not God. And there must not be, the Bible says that there's no prophecy which must be interpreted outside the word of God. Have you get what I'm saying? So maybe you are dating or you are sleeping with your friend's boyfriend, and God shows to me, I'm one person that doesn't miss West. I want to make it to heaven.
You don't miss West?
I don't miss West. Like I told your former, I told His Excellency Yahya Jammeh, I told him
that his time was ending.
Yes. And you see, there was a time, I think November, December, he was nearly toppled before there was a nearly coup attempt before the final one. I told him, I was in Sierra Leone, and I told the ambassador, Sierra Leone ambassador to Gambia, so he should wire and tell the president. And it came to pass. I don't miss West. You see, when you have the Spirit of God, truth must be on your tongue. I stand for truth. I say it's at it. That's why some people don't like me. They don't like me because in Africa setting, we don't like the people, the men of God that tell the truth. I'll tell the truth. I'll tell you to live right because Jesus is coming. I'll tell you that if you're messing up, you got to take care of yourself. I'll tell you that if you're masturbating, you have to stop because prostate cancer at the age of 40, 45 is going to be a portion. And for me, I have traveled by the grace of God. I've stayed in London. I've traveled nations. I know how the developed world are doing. It is always a burning desire in me, that West Africa is not doing well. If you go to South Africa, they are doing so well. Yes. If you go to East Africa, much of them are doing well, except West Africa. Go to Togo, it is abysmal. Go to Sierra Leone, the West about. For Liberia, the West about. Gambia. So there is a burning desire in me that Africa will do well. There is a burning desire, especially West Africa. That is why I'm using the Bible to make sure that to ginger. If you're a youngster watching me, it's still possible you can make it. If you're a young lady watching me, it's still possible you can make it. Put yourself together, put the shatters and batters together, and believe in Africa, believe in West Africa, believe in yourself, and let's make it for ourselves. We can make it.
Great. So now, going about doing your work. Have there been moments or instances where you would prophesy something, where you get misled by God, for example? God tells you something and you say it and it turns out to be false.
That's a good question. I've gotten it before. As human as I am, the only person that doesn't make mistake is God and the Spirit of God. Example is the past Nigeria elections. I saw it clearly. The Lord came to me in a vision. I saw it clearly, but I had the interpretation wrong. I saw it clearly.
But you interpreted it.
Yes, I saw it clearly. I saw that Atiku was going to win, but after I came out that I saw that Atiku has won, 2 weeks to the election, I had a vision again, and I saw that Atiku was in a chair, but the whole place was dark, and I saw Buhari in a little place with lights, but I did not interpret it well. And I was still insistful that Atiku would win.
Yes.
So sometimes you can get a vision right, but the interpretation you can get it wrong. That makes me human. That makes me human. That makes acknowledges my fallibility, my weakness as a human being. God can never be wrong. God can never get it wrong. But me as a human being, sometimes I can get the interpretation wrong. So there are times where I've seen visions, I've given prophecies, but the interpretation was wrong. There are times where God can tell me that you will give birth, and I'll tell you that I see a boy, but when you go and give birth, it will be a girl. Yes, God told me you give birth, that was right, but my interpretation was wrong. Yes. But I'm a human being. But I give and take over 10%. I think that 9.5% I'm always spot on. That's why my church is doing well. That's why I'm all over the world by the grace of God, because I am a sharp prophet of God.
But don't you think that comes off as a little bit of a challenge? Because some people, when you interpret, when you prophesy for them and it turns out to be false, they could label you as a fake prophet.
No, if you judge a man by 2/3 majority. Before a notion will become a policy in parliament, we vote by 2/3 majority. Who is a prophet? A prophet, by the standard of the word of God, says that who says and it come to pass. Yes. So if I've given 10 prophecies and 8 or 7 have come to pass, I mark our pass with distinctively. I'm above the bar. I hope you get what I'm saying. Yes. So far as I'm a human being, there are certain prophecies that might not come to pass. Because after prophecy, there are human works to be done. If I prophesy to you that you'll be president, and the things you have to do to be president, you don't do, it's your cup of tea. Yeah. I hope you get what I'm saying. If I tell you that you'll be a man of God, I'll tell you that you go to Canada abroad, and the things humanly possible you have to do, you are not doing it. It's up to you. That is why people's prophecy delay. That is why people's testimony. That is why the promises of God concerning people get delayed. Because after the people think that after the prophet has prophesied to you, it's a done deal. No. After the prophet has prophesied to you, it is the prophet has burdened you to go and work more, sow seeds, fast in the presence of God, create covenants, and build altars to enforce what is in the supernatural to come into the physical.
So Prophet, and also some people would see prophethood as synonymous to healing. You know, do you go about healing?
I'm God, healer too? God has used me. Can go on the internet. God has used me to erase the death. The last time I was in Gambia,
so you raised the death.
Yeah, God has, it's not me. The Spirit of God on my life, because all the greats and the mights and the message are glories to Jesus. Not me. I have no power, but the power of God on me. I've raised about 4 deaths. 2 in Sierra Leone, 2 in Ghana. And the records are, they can Google Prophet Nigel raises the death. It's on the internet, it's on the Google. God healing. The last time I came to Gambia, a lot of people, blind eyes, blind ears, and I'll be coming again. I'm rushing because I have another appointment in another country. I'm going. I'll come again before April. I'll be in Gambia. I was in Gilead, that is Serikunda. Prophet, Pastor AJK's church, Gilead healing. It was marvelous. The lame, and the cripple. A lot of miracles, a lot of healing. There are a lot of people here in Gambia that through my ministry they have been blessed. Through my ministry, they have been blessed tremendously. Tremendously.
Great. And Prophet, also your work sometimes, do you feel sometimes threatened at all in terms of people who are not happy with your prophecies?
No, never. You can't please, if you are going somewhere and if you are indeed witnessing about Jesus, it's not everybody that will be happy with you. Jesus himself, is not everybody that was happy with him. And the Bible says, because they did not spare you, me, they will not spare you. So those things are called occupational hazards. So like the work you are doing, they are occupational hazard. If your pen breaks, it's occupational hazard. Yeah. So if somebody blasts me, insults me, I'm used to it. Apostle Paul said, I bear the marks of Jesus. So those things doesn't affect me. I've outlived. I have a tough skin. Before you become a brigadier, you cannot have a brigadier with smooth skin. You have to have some marks on you. So if you really want to be a top-notch international prophet that I am, what people say doesn't matter. I'm consistent with the word of God. I'm consistent with the covenant of God over my life, and that is my focus. I'm very focused, and I'm consistent with what I do.
And also, some people would say, okay, Prophet Nigel is quite blessed, because most of the prophets, if you go through history, you realize that most of the prophets, some would be 30, their prophethood would start at 30, 40, going up. Yes, but yours came as early as 13 years.
Yes, 13 years. You know, that is what the Bible says in Joel 2:28, that it shall come to pass, I'll pour my spirit upon all flesh. The old men will sleep and the young men will prophesy. So we have the Old Testament prophet, who are old people, and then now the prophet that God is using, the prophetess that God is using are young men and women. Young men, you go to South Africa, young men go to Nigeria, Gambia here. As some of us have started coming here, the spirit of prophecy will fall on the Gambian. The spirit of prophecy will fall on the Gambian. And as you are watching me, if you desire the giftings of the God, the Bible says to some, give them apostle, teachers, evangelists, and pastor. May you receive it. May God use you. May that which the Lord has said about you come to pass. So I'm blessed. I'm not quite blessed. I'm tremendously blessed. I'm one of the young men that is tremendously blessed. Physically blessed, spiritually blessed. I'm blessed.
Do you have any TOR in terms of do's and don'ts, like things that you may do that might make God not happy with you and take away?
Very also, just like any believer, just like what the Bible says we shouldn't do. But as sinful as we are, are sinful from the end product of Adam. Definitely, I'm not 100% a saint, but 97% of my life is godly, righteousness, holiness. I try my humanly best, and the rest is up to Him.
How is your relationship like with other top religious leaders in Ghana?
For me, thank you again, Lamin. For me, you're a good presenter, and I love your questions. Your questions are spot on, and God bless you. So, for me, the Bible says, as much as possible, live at peace with all men. That's my key. I live at peace with all men. But sometimes it's not all men that want to live at peace with you. But for me, I have no problem with any man of God, whether senior or junior, upcoming in Ghana, in any part of the world. But if you have a problem, I am trying to do what the Word of God says. I should live peaceably with you. But what I will not concede to is that whoever you are as a man of God, I will not let you come destroy the work I'm doing. I appreciate the oil on you, respect and appreciate the oil on me. That's it. But if you want to cross by, that one I'll give it to you as the Word of God says I should give it to you. That's what it is.
Do you have disciples, like companions?
Oh, very well. So I have a lot of them. My son sitting here he is one of my disciples. I have thousands. I have spiritual sons and daughters all over the world. In South Africa, in Kenya, all over the world. All over the world. In Gambia, UK. When you came to my hotel, thousands of people. Lamin.
So, as a man of God,
yes,
this is a very trying time for the world.
Yeah.
A lot of problems: poverty, war, unemployment, underdevelopment.
Yes, sir.
A lot of problems the world is currently grappling with.
Yes, sir.
What would you prefer as a solution?
The solution is Jesus. The solution is God, coming to God, accepting Jesus Christ of Nazareth as your Lord and personal Savior. And 2, loving your neighbor as yourself. Lamin, if I love you, I won't kill you. If I love you, I'll not betray you. If I love you, I won't pull you down. These are the 2 golden keys. Love God, love Jesus, accept as Lord and person. After that, I should love you. The problem with Africa is that we don't support our own. The problem with I've traveled the whole of West Coast, Sierra Leone, Gambia, Liberia, everywhere. Our problem is that we kill our own. We accept the Lebanese, we accept the Indians, we accept the Turkish, and we kill ourselves. Show me a Ghanaian who is I came here and there's no Ghanaian product on your market. But there are Chinese products here. There are Turkish products here. You can't have been to Istanbul. You can't see any Gambian product in Turkey or Istanbul. So let Africa support Africa. Let the president, our presidents, they are wicked people. Most of the Africa presidents are wicked people. Most of the Africa political leaders are wicked people. They don't love us, they don't think about it. But it's time that the new generation of Africans will support Africans. When they see, let somebody see you doing well, those, oh, Lami has gone for Marabu Juju. But it's not so, it's your hard work. Look, when I came, look at the questions you're asking me. I hope you get what I'm saying. So let's ask, if you're a youngster, don't destroy your fellow black man. Wherever you are, don't destroy your fellow Gambian, don't destroy your fellow Nigerian, don't destroy your fellow Gambian. Let's support our own. Let's cover our own. Let's believe in our own. If we do that, 2 principles, love Jesus as your Lord and personal Savior, and love your neighbor as yourself. Don't smile with me, laugh with me, and go and stab me, and go and betray me, go and pull me down, go and work me down, go and talk me down, take me to Juju, take me to Sangoma, take me to Marabu. Let's love ourselves. If we do this, Gambia will do it, Nigeria will do it, West Africa. There is a burning desire in my heart for West Africa. We are far behind time. Look at Kenya, 25 years down the lane. Kenya can be compared to Holland. Kenya can be compared relatively to a developed country. It is possible. Look, I can tell you that the best inventions were all done by black men. The best musician is a black man. The best scientist is a black man. The best agriculturalist is a black man. The best technologist is a black man. The best, architecturalist is a black man. Civilization began in Africa. So why is Africa behind? Civilization began in Pharaonic Egypt. So why is Africa behind? The African, the black man can do it. In every field you find yourself, I challenge you, my brothers and sisters, that we can believe it. We can do it. Please, let's be positive. Let's be positive. I always tell people that your mind, your heart, if it's negative, you have negative results. Let's be positive. Let Ghanaians support Ghanaians. Gambia support Gambia. Let Nigeria, let's support our own. For our continent and especially the West Coast is behind. It's behind development.
It's behind. So, but let me bring you a little back then. Your prophecy, is it correct to say it transcends beyond just Ghana? Because you've made some prophecies when it comes to Nigeria, even Gambia.
Yeah.
So is it worldwide?
God is universal. God is global. My God is global. So anywhere I prophesy about Donald Trump becoming the president, and it came to pass.
So president, it came to pass today.
And your president, His Excellency Barrow,
yes, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what you make of him before we. Your prophecy. Before you get your prophet, I want to get, because since you said Gambia is your second home, I want your assessment of the Gambia.
Okay. No assessment from the era of the former president and now. What that I saw that was clear from the airport is that there is no tension. When I was coming to the studio, I saw His Excellency Barrow coming. They were taking from his lodge to the State House. I saw the convoy. First, the former president Yahya Jammeh to be 70 or more convoy, soldiers, military men, heavily armed. I mean, at a supersonic speed. I didn't see that. That's good. I saw Barrow, His Excellency Barrow, in about 5 or 7 cars in his Pajero, black Pajero. Good. No tension. But he is not doing all. Barrow is not doing, and I will appeal to him. And I'm seeing insecurity in Gambia. Let Gambia strengthen their security. And also, I've already prophesied within the year, last year during my 31st December, I saw a West Africa state toppled politically. I've seen the country, but I will not mention it. So what I will speak now, I speak maturely and figuratively, is that the president, he came and he said that he wants a mandate of 3 years.
Yes. That was the pledge.
Yes, he should go so as West Africa. Another person will come.
But he has reneged on that.
No, that's what I'm saying. So the good people of Gambia, the Lord said I'm going to meet him tonight. There's an arrangement. I'm going to meet the president. I'm going to tell you about the Spirit of God that it's time for him to go. Just like I told His Excellency Yahya Jammeh to go, he didn't go and he was humiliated. He should go.
So those are implications that await him too.
Very also, I saw a mob. I saw a mob. Yes, I saw a mob. It will be a bad thing. We should go. I don't see His Excellency Barrow prophetically as a prophet. I don't see beyond the 5 years. He should go. 3 years. He should go. And the Lord has brought me here to come and tell him, admonish him ahead of time that he should go. He should go. Let another person, let Gambia go to the polls. Let another person contest. So Gambia will do all. Given about 5, 8, 10 years, Gambia will do all. Gambia will do all. And let every Gambian believe in Gambia. Don't lose hope in the spirit of Gambia. Gambia can do all. Gambia can do all. Gambia can do all. Gambia can do all. The Africa president, when it's your time, go. Let another person. You're not the only wise person. No, whatever you want, God has blessed you. Barrow, you expect to be where you are. God has shown mercy. So don't come and plug the nation into war, don't forget that Gambia, if not for prayer and the good people of Gambia, Gambia was so close to war. Gambia was so close to war, like Liberia, so close. So I'm pleading him in the name of the Lord Jesus that the Lord is telling me to tell him that he should go after his 10, as it should obey the compact, it should obey the agreement, and the civil society, the powers that be must understand, and the surrounding neighbors must understand. They should not support him. He should go. So as the pains Gambia went through in the past, it will not be repeated. The pains, because what we were all praying and fighting for, he should not come and repeat it. He has done his best. The 3, 4 years is okay. He should take Gambia to the polls. If God wishes that he should come back again, in good time he will come back. Maybe he can raise another person to do that. You know, if you see the African leader, when you talk to them, they don't listen. When you talk to them, because I mean,
one would say they are post-students of history.
They're post-students of history. I always tell people that if Charles Taylor, His Excellency Charles Taylor, was able to raise somebody, today he won't be at where he is. If Laurent Gbagbo, His Excellency Laurent Gbagbo, was even left for a time, and Barrow should go, and Togo, you should also go. Let the African do all. Is a monarchy? It's not monarchical. It's executive president. You understand? So it should go. It should let fresh hands come, fresh brain. Young people should come, young brains should come. So I love Gambia. I'm praying for Gambia. Let the Gambians go to the polls next year and change.
Yeah, one final thing. You've been in town for about 2 days.
Yes,
what are some of the things that you've been doing on the project?
Oh, some
meeting Barrow later today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Some great people came to see me, 1 or 2. I just came to, I've not been here for about 4 or 5 years. So I just came to plan a major program around April. So that is why I'm here. I'm going to come back again with fire. I want to fill the National Stadium. I want to fill, so I'm arranging with your station. I'm arranging with your Madam Fatu. And if you're a man of God watching me, I don't have any intention to come and plant a church here. I'm a prophetic revivalist. You can call the number, you can follow me, and you can come together and let's push Gambia. I want to revive the Christian front in Gambia. It's a passion. It's a heartbeat.
Prophet Nigel, thank you for speaking to the Fatu Network. Thank you.
Thank you, Lamin. I think that I've gone nations. A lot of people have interviewed me. I will say that you are the top notch. God bless you.
I find that a little flattering.
I'm telling you, and you are some young man.
Thank you.
So be consistent. The Lord bless the station. But if you permit me, I want to say a word to my viewers. If you watched me, I want you to say this after me. Say, Lord Jesus, I thank you for my life. Forgive me of all my sins. Write my name in the book of life. In Jesus' name. I am the leader of Prophetic Hill Chapel, Accra, Ghana. And I have a television called Hill TV. Subscribe, go on the internet, like Prophet Nigel. And don't forget that believe in Gambia, believe in Africa. The best is yet to come. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prophet.
It's been a good show.
Thank you. So that's Prophet Nigel Gacy of Ghana speaking to us there. That's it for this interview. Until next time.